Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the 75 TR6 that we are working on in the Rusty Beauty's garage. Wow, there's a big flight here. So we're gonna start working on the engine now, finally. But before we start, I want to clarify something because you might see some weird things happening. I mean, timeline-wise, because I'm actually already halfway done. This dragonfly is driving me crazy. Go out! I'm actually halfway through the rebuild of the engine. It's already taken apart, measured, parts are ordered, it's clean and etc. But I haven't shown you any videos of that so far. And the reason for that was because I was working on a 74 TR6 engine that I'm rebuilding at work, and I didn't want to show videos of one engine then another engine, and it was gonna be a mess and people were gonna get confused. Not that I didn't get confused many times with what engine am I working on and didn't I measure this measurement here? Oh no, that was the other engine, and it was complicated for me, but I'm gonna try to make it clear for you. So anyways, the other engine is done. I haven't done the first start yet, but that's another story. So I'm gonna start showing you the footage here from the very beginning, from when I started disassembling the engine, etc. But in the first few videos you might see things that are taken apart, and you have already seen videos of me putting them back together, and it might be confusing, but that's why, because I filmed the engine disassembling videos and measuring and ordering parts a long time ago. You might see me with crutches at some point in these videos when I don't use crutches anymore, I don't have a cast anymore. You know, don't tell my doctor because I'm supposed to still wear it, but anyway, that's another story. Anyways, let's get crackalacking. Cheers, by the way. So the first thing that we have to do here is to put it on the engine stand. And to put it on the engine stand, we need to remove the clutch plate, the clutch, the flywheel, and this rear engine plate, so we can bolt our mount for the stand. Oops. Okay. Alright, so this clutch definitely needs replacement. We better replace it now than having troubles later. The plate looks good though, no scoring. The springs are pretty strong. There you go. That's not normal. Definitely need new bush for there. And you know what, even though there's still oil in the engine, I'm gonna remove also these bolts on the rear seal because it's hard to remove it once the engine stand mount is mounted here. We're gonna leave the seal housing here for now, but at least the bolts are removed, so it's easy to work. Alright, so the oil is drained and it's like really black. I'm assuming that they changed it in that shop when the car went for service. It would be a shame if they didn't. I don't even know if it has 100 kilometers on it, if that much. And already the oil is so black. So definitely there was a lot of blow-by. I was gonna start taking it apart, but I realized that maybe it's gonna be much easier if I actually clean it up a little bit now first before I take it apart. All the hardware that I removed so far from the engine is here. This is evaporust, so all the external hardware from the engine that I removed, I'm gonna put in evaporust and we're gonna see what's gonna happen. This is a product that my friend Eugene keeps recommending to me, and this time I'm gonna listen to his advice and I'm gonna dip everything into evaporust. Let's see what's gonna happen. Because normally what I do is I go on the wire wheel and I clean one by one each and every bolt. And for the cleaning I bought a whole bunch of wire wheels. I have a big wire wheel on my angle grinder, but also these for little die grinders. So let's see. tried to clean it up a little, but that didn't work very well. I think that I'm gonna do it my regular way, and I'll take everything apart and then I'm gonna clean everything separately. The bulk, the oil pan, the head, the timing cover and everything. So I stripped it as much as I could from the outside. The only other part that I still need to take out is the front engine plate, and I think with that all the exterior parts are gonna be separated from the engine. All the hardware, like I said, is here in Evaporust. I made sure everything is covered completely because Eugene told me that if something is halfway in, halfway out, that's gonna etch a line around it. So I made sure everything is dipped completely, and I made a mess already here. So I'm gonna have to clean up the table now again, and we're gonna start taking the interiors out now. We're gonna take out the rocker shaft with all the rockers, and we're gonna be inspecting everything as well as we're taking it out. We're gonna take the head out. We're gonna remove the timing mechanism from here so we can remove the front engine plate. Then we're gonna flip it upside down and we're gonna start taking the pistons with the connecting rods at the same time, and finally we're gonna remove the crankshaft and the camshaft. That's the plan. Alright, so the rocker shaft is out and all the head bolts are removed except the last four. They're loosened. I gave them some space here, and that's because, as you may know, the head sometimes gets stuck on the rods and it's pretty hard to remove, especially for someone with a broken leg like me. So what I normally do when I have an engine on the stand is this. So now we're gonna try gently first and see if that's gonna work. If it doesn't work, then we're gonna have to pull out a little bit heavier artillery. Okay, so let's try this. Now we have, I think this is lead. Okay, so we have a good 3/8 of an inch gap there now. So now we can pull it to the side and try to slip it out. So that's my way. Remember, you can't use steel hammer for that. It needs to be something soft. You see, this hammer got damaged from this, but better we damage the hammer than crack the head. Okay, so the head is off and I looked at the valves quickly. Of course, there's a lot of carbon as expected because we knew that this engine was running rich. Even the new spark plugs that I put, look, they're already covered in carbon. Anyways, but the valves don't look too bad. I mean, they're not very deep into the head, which means that probably this head has never been redone. Anyways, we're gonna take it apart and we will see what the seats look like and the valves themselves. But here I'm really surprised. This video starts looking a lot like my other video about the 74 TR6 engine that I'm rebuilding. I looked at the top of the pistons. I cleaned a little bit number 1 and number 6, and I looked a little bit to see if I can find any marks saying that this is 20 over or 30 over or whatever. but it looks like these are the original pistons. Looks like this engine has never been taken apart and never been rebored or anything. But look at the cylinders as well. So I was expecting to find a big ridge here, and all I find is just different color, because this is how far the piston rings were going, and they weren't going higher, and that's why it's not polished. It's just a different color, but I don't feel a different, like I don't feel a ridge or anything. And that's on all of them. There's no ridge here. Is it possible that they are still close to the standard size and they don't need reboring? We're gonna see that when we take it apart. We're gonna start measuring everything. I'm really curious to find out what the size is of these cylinders. Maybe we can get away without reboring them. We will see about that. I will keep taking everything apart, and then we're gonna take a look at everything at the same time. So I took the oil pump out, it's over there, and it's in pretty good shape actually. And then what I always do is I check the cups if they are in the right orientation. So one, you can see this one, but one is here, number 2 is here, and number 2 in the same orientation here, number 3, and number 4. Where did the 4 go? Oh, here, and number 4 and number 4. So on this block they're all in the same orientation, which I'm used to see. But on the other engine that I'm rebuilding right now, 1 was in this orientation, 2 was in this orientation, 3 was in this orientation, and 4 was in this orientation. All 4 cups were in different orientation, but the numbers matched. The numbers on the cup matched the orientation on the block. So that's how we're gonna assemble them there. But here, they're all in the same orientation, which is good. Anyways, next we're gonna check the end play of the crankshaft. I'm actually surprised here. I already checked it, and look at that. That's how far it goes in one direction. That's how far it goes in the other direction. That's so tight, it's crazy. That's 2 thou play. For this engine, I was expecting to see like 20 thou of end play. I'm starting to think that this engine is in a very good shape actually, and probably we have broken rings or something, because it was very low on compression. Or maybe the valves? I don't know. We will see, but for now I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Alright, so the block is empty. Everything is taken out and it's on the bench here. And I'm really pleasantly surprised with this engine. Looks like it's been rebuilt. Not recently, but probably 30 years ago. Probably just before the car was put to storage and never driven again. Now the rocker shaft is the only thing that I think it's a little bit worn, especially in the front end. Here this rocker, now I can't do it with one hand, but when we take it apart you will see the rocker barely moves up and down, and it skips, like it doesn't move smoothly. Like there's some of them here. Oh, even this one doesn't move. Like I can feel a ridge, like it goes over a ridge. So definitely we're gonna order a new rocker shaft. It's cheap, it's 20 bucks, and it's worth changing it now. The head, I haven't done anything yet. We're gonna do that tomorrow. I'm tired now. So that's like the final segment, and then I'm gonna go have beer. Anyways, the tappets look great. I don't see any damage. Like, they're fantastic, all of them. The cams on the camshaft look great too. I don't see any damage anywhere. Like, of course I'm gonna inspect it further. Now, for now, I'm just very quickly taking a look. The connecting rods, I'm surprised. The bearings look brand new, and of course you can see they're oversized. I checked them, they're 20 over. So turns out this engine has been rebuilt. The pistons are all in good shape. The rings are not seized. There's no cracks on the pistons. There's nothing. They're really good shape. Some of the bearings, though, even though they're new, look at this one. It has some weird marks on it. But doesn't really matter. We're gonna change them all. We will see what's going on with the crank. But definitely, even if the measurements are good, we're gonna have to change these bearings. I don't like them. This one looks a little bit scored even. Or maybe not, but it doesn't really matter. And that's it here. And let's take a look at the crank. So the main bearings are a little bit more worn, and they are also 20 over. If you can see here. So they're also 20 over. These, the thrust washers, they're 05. 5 thou. And the crank looks great. Obviously, if we have connecting rod bearings and main bearings at 20 over, the camshaft has been redone. And it looks like it's been redone recently. I mean, mileage-wise, it's been redone recently because there's no scoring, there's nothing. It looks fantastic. So once we measure it, we will see. And it also looks like it's been balanced. Look how much it has been taken off from here and from here. That's not factory. It's been balanced. And here also, whoever did it, they put some information on it here. Obviously, this is connecting rod and main bearings, 20 over and 20 over. Cap 9950. I'm not really sure what this means, but this has been done in the machine shop when they machined it. So I'm really positive here that we don't need to do any machining. We might just do a little bit of honing there and new bearings, new rings, and put it back together, the bottom end. And for the top end, we're gonna have to inspect further. We're gonna take the valves out and see if there's play on the valve guides, if the seats are in a good shape. But I'm really positive that this engine is gonna turn out fantastic in no time and without too much investment. Anyways, that's gonna be it for tonight. Tomorrow we're gonna measure everything, the cylinders and the crank and the pistons, and then we're gonna start taking the head apart. But for now, that's everything, guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting and subscribing, and I'll see you the next one. Bye.